Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, June 26th, and we are live tonight. Your open-minded mystics are so excited for this show. We are on episode 111, and for anyone out there that knows me, you know how I love my 1111s, my 1111 wishes, my multiple numbers. It's just something I'm fascinated by always since I was a kid. Tonight we have a special show because we have an amazing guest. I'm so excited to share with you someone that I had an opportunity to have a reading with that I got to meet. His name is Michael. But before we bring Michael out, you know who we have to bring out. We have to bring out the rest of the mystics. And you know, Kim Mazzella is amazing. She's our seeker and our life coach. But Tracy Locke, I have to say, tonight might take the cake, and I'm going to have to explain to you why. Let's bring them out here together. I don't even want to wait. I want to get everybody out on screen. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to share if it's your first time watching. Make sure that you subscribe to our page on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Share. We want to create this network of seekers and open-minded mystics. That's what we want to do together. We can elevate the vibration of the global population. One good deed, one kind word at a time. And I'm so pumped. So I'm going to bring out Miss Tracy Locke and Miss Kim Mazzella and mute my microphone. My dog, he decides he's just not about it tonight, guys.
Oh my gosh, I heard it. I was like, as soon as she gets on, the dog starts going. Ladies, I am so excited for tonight. I've been looking forward to this guest for weeks. I am so excited. Kim, how are you feeling?
I am so excited. I've been looking forward to this for such a long time. Since Donna said she met him and talked about her experience, I have been pumped about tonight, really. And plus, I haven't seen you guys in a while. And I really have been looking forward to just getting together. The Open Minded Mystics, it's summer now, and it's beautiful out.
I know, it is summertime. So Open Minded
What's it feeling like where you are? Why don't you tell everybody where you are? 2 a.m. party girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is 2 a.m. I am in Spain. I am coming to you. This is an international show, ladies and gentlemen, senoras and senoritas. But listen, it is 114 degrees here. It was 114 today. 114 degrees. I'm melting. Yeah, it's crazy hot. I mean, on the sun hot. It's like bananas hot.
I knew that was happening in the south of the United States. I guess I didn't realize it was happening in Europe also.
Well, in Spain, it's Spain. This part of Spain is like super, super hot. It's like being in Las Vegas in the United States. But oh my God, at least Las Vegas is a dry heat. This is not a dry heat.
Oh my God.
This is like you're in a steam room and it's 114 degrees. It is ridiculous. Now I know why everybody siestas, because there's no way that you could get anything done during the middle of the day.
I have a question. I know that a lot of Europe doesn't have air conditioners. In that area, do they?
Oh yeah. Not everyone. Mm-hmm. What they do is they literally have siesta and they have these big shutters. You'll see them. And everyone just goes inside and shuts all the windows and all the shutters. So it's like dark, like a cave. Like you don't open your windows. You don't open like shades so that the sun can come in. You want it dark so that it stays cool. So it's pretty interesting.
I don't know how people live before air conditioning.
I know. I can't even imagine being in this weather and not having air conditioning.
Wow. What's the energy like? Energetically, what is it like there? Is it, I don't even know. Is it like Italy? Is it like Rome? Is it?
Sevilla is a city. So, I'm here because my sister lives here and she lives literally in the heart of the city, like right downtown. And what's so crazy about it is you go down her street and it's this tiny little winding street, would be like in Greenwich Village, like the tiny little windy streets. And then there's it's just building. But then you open the door and it's a huge courtyard. Like in New York, you go into these buildings and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is behind this facade. Yes. Like the facade looks so flat. And then you go in and it's like so many dimensions. That's what it's like here. It's crazy. Like everything looks like a big flat street, but then you go in these doors and it's like these different huge courtyards with all these plants, fountains, but if you went by it, it just looks like a garage. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
You can't tell till you open the door. It's wild. You guys have to get here.
I too.
But they say, you guys, we have to do an open-minded mystics trip.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Totally.
Well, this is not my year for travel, according to my human design chart.
Ooh, let's
You
talk
tell
about
me
human
what year you
design.
have? Oh my gosh. I gotta learn.
Oh, you have no idea.
I am dying to hear all about this. It's the most exciting thing. I'm so excited. I really am.
I was very lucky to have booked my reading with Michael. And that's when I was like, oh, he's definitely has to be a guest. I felt almost funny asking because I was just like, I got this celebrity vibe from him. I don't know. Like, I think he's going to like be this multiple famous person. I can't explain it. Anyhow, so a little bit about it. I had no idea what human design was. And all I was asked for was my birth date, my time. I've had my chart done before, but never to this degree. It's very different. And for anyone out there that's watching that has had your chart done and you're like, oh, I could tune out now. Don't tune out, because what the reading was so much more intense than other charts I've had done, because it dives into so many different layers of not just astrology, but your chakras, your energy, everything that we talk about for the past 110 episodes. There's been little touches
say that
of
again.
It.
Say that
again.
I
know. We are on episode 111.
Oh,
crazy.
My.
I love it.
Great?
And it was so meant to
It's
be when you wrote that to me, Tracy. And you're like, look at the number of episode that Michael is on. I'm like, it's no mistake.
But wait, I have a question for you. How did you even like get human design? Where did that come from?
Oh,
meaning, how did you know to do a reading? Because I would have been like, what?
Well, I was introduced to Michael, not physically, through a friend, and I was given information, right? I'm not being cryptic for any other reason except for I don't want to talk about somebody who doesn't want to be spoken about.
Yeah, sure.
So I was just told, I think I know someone who you would totally vibe with, that you would totally click with, that you totally would understand. And I was like, tell me more. And I looked up his Instagram and his socials, which I will be putting up during the show. And because I want you guys to stay tuned and not distracted, because this is something you're going to want to pay attention to.
Yes.
And I booked it, had no idea what to expect. And the first thing that he wrote to me, he's like, well, I could tell you what your type is. I'm a manifesting generator. And guys, if you watch the show, you know that all I talk about is manifesting.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, what? I have the chills again every time I talk about it. But I think one of the biggest.
And he knew nothing about you.
Nothing about me. Nothing about me. We never met. Nothing. I gave him just the simple things: the birth date, the time, the place. That's it. Like, he did a chart. And when he got on, it was a Zoom call. I was able to record it with my phone. Tracy heard some of the recording, and she was blown away because she knows like me very well. And she was listening to it and she was like, oh my God. She's like, this guy knows nothing about you. I said, nothing. And it was wild. And
I can't wait to hear.
And he brought up pictures. I don't have copies of pictures, but we're going to talk about it with Michael and how we can access some copies of things. And I know he's gonna be an open book. But one of the things I want to say, and then we're bringing him out, is he asked me if I communicate with birds. And now you know that I love animals and I communicate with birds and like with all sorts of animals, but I don't feel like I communicate with them like where I have this cognizant conversation, but I'm obsessed with taking photographs of them. I love birds. And then Courtney went and she had a chakra. I'm giving both of my daughters a gift of a reading with Michael. I don't want to say too much, but she also had a bird in hers with a different person. And I'm like, what is happening?
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
I did wear my hair like a flock of seagulls a lot of my youth.
So maybe that's it.
He seems young and not
even right now. All right. Well, what do you ladies think? I think it's time. I think it's time. We're almost 10 minutes in. We normally even go further, but
I know, but I love that you made a Kajagoogoo reference.
No, it's a flock of seagulls.
Both.
Oh, you said two shots, yeah.
Now I'm aging myself. It's fine. I'm okay with it. So again, I'm going to say to everyone that's out there, you're going to want to pay attention. Please share this because I want everybody to learn about Michael because he's just incredible. And you're going to fall in love like I did. And I think we're going to bring him out right now.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Without further ado.
Michael!
Woo! I'm going to bring you up to the big screen, Michael, okay? Just so you know, we're giving you the big screen, top billing.
Bring him out, bring him out, bring him out. Okay.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here, taking time to be on our show. We are just so excited about this. And you heard a little bit when you were in the green room. I gushed about you, like I fangirled about you here and in live in person with Tracy. And I'm just really, thank you very much. I'm very grateful that you're here.
I'm gonna want to listen to that recording because I'm forgetting everything I said.
That's okay. That's okay. You said that I was going to be rich. I was going to always look young.
Exactly. Yeah. What else? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, everyone. I'm really happy to be here.
We're really happy to have you. I can't wait to hear all about human design and your journey to learning about it and how it came about in your world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you get into human design work, Michael?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, actually it was before that, in 2019, I started getting into different modalities, Buddhism, different ideas and different philosophies, astrology, Kabbalah. And then it was the pandemic that hit, that all this time was left over. So I started to really study it like full on. I wanted to get down to the bottom of these details. And similar to Donna having a reading, I had a reading with a Kabbalistic astrologer, which is like a Kabbalah astrologer, Jewish astrologer. And I was blown away by the amount of detail they could say about my family, very personal details I wouldn't want anyone to know. So I thought, okay, you can't Google what they were telling me. And it freaked me out. And of course, my family was like, oh, they, were making things up, or they, looked you up. And I said, I don't think this person looked me up or anything. It's one thing to look at to Google basic things, but it's another when someone can say something extremely personal,
Right.
that no one knows.
Right.
So again, it just shocked my system. And I thought, I have to get down to the bottom of this. And the human design, I follow a lot of Jenna Zoe, My Human Design, which I recommend to get your chart on myhumandesign.com. I really like her interpretations of the system. And human design was channeled in 1987. This guy had a mystical...
1987? That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, it came then because computers were available to the consciousness and the computers were available to put the charts together. Because when you look at your human design graph, it's the Hindu chakra system, astrology, Jewish Kabbalah, the Chinese I Ching, and quantum physics involved. So all of this together, this guy heard a mystical voice and he didn't want the information, apparently, like he avoided it. And it was telling him about how all these ancient esoteric systems all go into one body map and can tell us a lot about how a person functions. So we have computers now to look at these complex charts rather than just looking at the stars like astrology. And, they didn't have computers back then to track what the asteroids or what the main planets are above. So human design goes really deep. I find that it's like next level astrology. And Donna, I was teaching her about her digestion, her strongest sense. Like, you have outer vision like me. Like, you need everything to look a certain way. Like, I use my vision all the time in my career, like organizing things and music and reading the music. And Donna does hair. Like, she's really good at finding with the details with her eyes. So there's several different strong senses, and you can look them up for free on myhumandesign.com. You can learn about your digestion, how your energy works. It goes so deep. Yeah.
And if some guy just channeled it and made it so that everybody could do it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird
He must have been super smart.
Exactly. I think he was on like a yoga retreat in Ibiza, Spain. Synchronicity, because Tracy.
Wow.
Very interesting. And also, this is episode 111, which is an angel number, which has a very strong energy of spiritual awakening. And, numbers are an interesting thing that I work with as well, because the I Ching in the human design also has numbers. But also numerology I sometimes look at, which I really recommend everyone to look up your numerology as well. You can even do like AstroSeek numerology and look up your basic life path number and different things. So there's so much history and ancient wisdom behind numerology, human design, astrology, Jewish mysticism, Buddhism, all of it. So I was so fascinated by all of it, and I had to dive into it, for me mostly to kind of heal myself. I've been through like different health things, so it's been a joy learning it and then helping people with it.
So your learning, it helped you heal yourself?
Yeah, in a way. I've always had severe digestive issues, having like IBS.
Uh-huh.
I used to be 100 pounds heavier. I used to be really big when growing up. And it's a combination of things. I got really into holistic health, which is also what I work with as well, like medical medium protocols, which are really amazing. But the human design tells you about your digestion. And I have the most sensitive, primitive digestion in human design called consecutive, which means I'm only supposed to eat like very simple, one thing at a time. Even when I focus, I like to focus on one thing at a time. So humans can't multitask, and that's where that comes from. The hunter-gatherer wasn't distracted by a phone and certain
Right.
things.
Yeah.
He or she was focusing on, survival or picking the fruit off the tree. So when I was younger, I always thought I would pick my food apart. Like I was eating one thing at a time in a sandwich. I would eat the tomato, or when I ate the cheese, I would take the mozzarella out. You know what I mean?
Huh.
So
Wow.
learning your human design, there are 12 digestion types.
Hmm.
That's a very important aspect to learn if you have health problems. That's what I do a lot of work with, health coaching, mentoring people with the human design, where they're not getting answers from conventional things. I don't take people out away from doctors. I don't take them away from therapists. I actually tell them to go into that, but you can use these modalities and self-heal, self-learn on your own.
Wow. So now I'm looking mine up.
Well, I one of the things I remembered that we're talking about digestion that Michael had said to me was, you're not someone that would be good at intermittent fasting, like by my human design chart. And I was like, that's so interesting, because I just intermittent fast, not on purpose, but I know it doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you want to look up these details as well. And it's really helpful because some people are active beings and some people are passive beings. That has to do with the brain. So active beings, they're go, go, go. They're, constantly grazing throughout the day so that they can keep the focus. It's mostly related to the brain. I'm not going to go too deep because human design can get very complex. But then passive beings are kind of need to have an outer perspective, go slow with digestion. So not the 3 big American meals a day. These clients, these people are like the snackers, kind of thing.
So there's 12 of these? 12.
Well, yeah, there's 12 digestion types, and they go really deep. Everything from exactly like using temperature, sound. Everyone's different. Like my father is calm digestion, and my mom is music and sounds, which is hilarious because I always wondered why they don't always eat together on a daily basis. Like, of course, we have family dinners, but my dad always has to be calm while eating, and he gets a bit aggravated if the TV is too loud or there's too much stimulation in the restaurant. My mom is the opposite. She's constantly blaring the television. So it's actually turning on her digestion. It's very strange.
Wow.
So it's important, though, I must say, you must get your time of birth correct. If you're off by 10 minutes, 20 minutes, the digestion part will change in the chart.
Ooh.
We have a question. I have a question from, let's see. Hi, Linda. Linda Walker Allen said, what if you go from being passive to the other?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. Well, your chart is like based off the time of birth. So it's like your individual blueprint, what you're working with. There are times in life where we have transits, like we go through, different hard times and easier times planetary. We can also dive into what that means, like a Saturn return when you're 28, things get serious or something. It's nothing scary, but sometimes it's like, I need to get going on my soul's journey. But it won't change. If you're left or right, when you look at the arrows, passive or active, that's what you work with. When you try to be the other, that's when you're living in the not self, which means like you might be frustrated or you're doing things that are not aligned. Like people talk about alignment, which is a big word, like becoming aligned. And by the way, no human is perfectly aligned.
Right. I agree with that.
What you guys work with people as well. Like we're always trying to get better. If you reincarnate as human, or if you don't believe in reincarnation, you're in transformation. You're not an angel or the higher worlds. You're having a fun experience down here. So we can also dive into that. There's so much.
Okay, I have a question then. So because I'm looking mine up, and it says digestion, evening eating, indirect light. What the heck does that mean? Even I'm better eating it in the evening. Oh my gosh, I want to call my mother and tell her. See, that's why I never ate breakfast.
Exactly. So basically, evening eating are more nocturnal beings. Like we're working right now in the nighttime. If we're on the East Coast, like you feel like charged in the evening. Your larger meal might be at night. So during the day, like you might just snack or have light things. So evening eating, again, is just your blueprint manual being like, that's how you work. Like when someone turns on bright lights in the morning, it's a lot. It's too intense for these people. These people go out and need sunglasses when it's too sunny. It's just a more nocturnal energy. So basically, when you do it your way, which is like the natural way your body is telling you, it's easier. You digest better. You feel better.
See, all those years I got yelled at for not eating breakfast before school because I knew deep in my heart.
Right.
You weren't activated yet. Like your digestion wasn't saying, I want to eat that. It's like intuitive eating. It's like saying, I'm not really wanting to eat yet. And then finally it hits and you're like, all right, my hunger is here. So just, and I will preface, human design is an experiment. So you're actually, you can be living with a lot of conditioning from the past. So when I read my digestion type, 1 year later, I started to realize it was accurate because I was like, no way I have to eat one thing at a time, which is ridiculous, by the way, because we live in a homogenous world. Everything like fast food is all about mixing.
Of course.
So take it with a grain of salt for now.
That's fascinating. This is so interesting. And Michael, I have a question.
Yeah.
What if you don't know your exact birth time? Because of course there'll be people who don't. Then how do you read your human design chart?
Yeah, it's a great question. Several ideas. The first one is to find the birth certificate or ask the mother or father if they're still around. The second one is to call the hospital. Sometimes it's on record if you're in America. I know in like other countries that people, it's really difficult to find your birth information in Europe sometimes, but call the hospital. And then the third one is you can have a rectification reading with a really strong astrologer who specializes in that. And that means they go ask you questions and they play with the chart and they see predictions to see what lines up in the person's life. Although I don't offer anything like that, but I can kind of help people with the human design, because you can ask questions. If your digestion changes, you can ask the person, do you like this kind of digestion or that kind of digestion? So you could look at that as well. Play with the time if you don't have it.
I will say that I lost my birth certificate and I had to get it for a passport. So I went to the town that I was born in and it was in their hall of like records. I had to get a copy. That's how I actually got the extensive one that had the time of my birth on it.
I was just going to say, on your birth certificate, it doesn't normally have the time, correct?
On the birth certificate that's recorded with where it was in the Passaic is where I was born. So I went to the county clerk, I guess, called. I needed it, and when they gave it to me, it was on there. It was like not a little square. It was a longer birth certificate. It was recorded by the county, so that was a little different. Just to let anybody know, that's a great
fascinating.
question.
So would you say, Michael, that like digestion is one of the foundations of human design? It's so I don't know anything about human design, so I'm coming into
it has
this
a lot
line,
of parts in this chart. I'm like, there's a ton. So maybe you can go over all the different ones.
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you, Tracy.
No. It's excellent and amazing thought because it can be overwhelming. And I suggest going slow. The first step in human design is to learn about your energy type and your strategy and authority. This is the most important aspect. And I do so many readings for people and then like they come back a year and a half later or a year later and then they want another reading and then I'm like, what's your strategy and authority or what's your energy type? Do you remember? And then they're like, no. And I'm like, it's okay. No judgment, but it's really important. They even emphasize this in human design training and different things. So the energy type is how you work with the energy. There's 5 types. We can dive into each one. They're important. And then the strategy and authority, I think of it like as your intuition. So we live in a very generator world, which is like the main type. It's about 70% of the population. These are the gut people, like follow your gut. They got loads of life force energy. They're the movers and shakers, and they have energy they're the people driving on the highway, to work the 9 to 5. They have the energy to do that.
Right.
It doesn't mean the other energy types can't do that, but they might get burned out. Those types might have a different, meaning in their life. So we want to live our energy type because it helps us move through easier. So yeah, learn about your energy type first. and then start practicing the strategy and authority. So we can dive into a couple of,
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I can tell you what my strategy and authority is.
What is it? Yeah.
So it says my type is manifesting generator. My strategy is to respond. And my authority is, let me just do this. Emotional solar plexus.
Okay. And Tracy, do you know yours as well or no?
Look it up, Tracy.
No, so you just look up, I don't know my birth time. That's
Okay.
the problem. I have to look that up. I don't know it. I don't know it offhand.
Yeah. Find your birth time, and then we can play around with it. So for Kim, yeah, I'm the same. I am a manifesting generator energy type with an emotional solar plexus authority.
Okay.
So we can just talk a little bit about this so we can hear your experience. But so manifesting generator is like the generator type. It has that manifesting energy, which is there's an extra energy. Like people say, they tell you to go left, you go right. Like you need to do your own thing. You got lots of energy, lots of life force to use up.
Uh-huh.
This is a very energetic being. Like they can feel a little restless when they don't move their body or keep busy. Like you have energy you have to use up by the end of the day.
Right.
It's very important for you to wear out the energy. So emotional solar plexus means that you are not built to make decisions in the moment. Important decisions.
Oh, okay. That's interesting because that's usually what I do and kind of like very impulsive. So that's actually usually.
The manifesting generator and the manifestor is the most impulsive type.
Right.
We're like writing the email. Oh, writing the email quickly. We have to get it done. A lot of energy. And then later we're like, oh, spelling error. Oh, I shouldn't have said that mean thing to someone by accident. You know what I mean? You're like, I shouldn't have, reacted so quickly. Anyway, it just means it tells you wait for clarity. So you need to tell people, let me get back to you. So you wait and you check in with your gut. So you need to sleep on it before you make an important decision. Selling your house, starting a business venture, starting a podcasting. It's like you have to wait a little bit and feel your gut.
So this thing, just putting in this thing, you learned about me that I am impulsive and that for me to heal or be better in life, I gotta, in all things, this makes so much sense. And you just met me. So what are the other types then for that? Like for what was that one? That was
the manifesting generator. So we have that generator, which is the worker bee. We kind of know this energy. We're part generator. But then there's a type called the manifestor, which in history were the kings and queens. They kind of ruled things, and some dictators are manifestors. So this is there's a hybrid of the generator and the manifestor, which is a third type. So those are three types. And then there's another type called the projector, which is a non-energy being. It's more passive. Obama is a projector, and they're more sensitive. You know what I mean? It's like a more stoic energy. They're the guides. They see things different than we do. Like as the manifesting generator is working so fast, the projector is there being like, slow it down, do this. It's like managing things, So
Okay.
Many projectors are living as generators, which is not a bad thing, but they get overworked. My sister and brother are projectors, and you can have some health issues if you're overworking, because these beings are so clever. They need to use their gifts in a different way than overworking, or we have constant energy, manifesting generator. So then there's another type called the reflector, which is when you look at the chart, it's completely open. There's only one reflector for every 100 people. There's only one, so it's 1% of the population.
Wow. What's that like?
So we probably don't know any of them, really. Like we probably don't bump into them in our daily lives.
Exactly.
Are these famous people?
Yeah, right. Well, Sandra Bullock is a reflector, and think of her job. She's reflecting so many different characters. She can change her voice and be, hilarious and Miss Congeniality. Like they're so flexible. They can change their identity when you start learning each chakra in relation to human design. So reflectors are like shamanic, let's say, in history. Like they came in, the generators, the worker bee, the projectors, the guides, the manifestors dictating what to do. Then the reflector comes in and reflects energy back. When you are near a reflector, they read you. They're psychic in a way. I actually met one recently who lives in my neighborhood, and when they look at you, it's almost like they can, I don't want to say call bullshit out, but they're like a sponge that they feel you, like they could feel your anxiety. Very sensitive being. and actually they're the most prone to health problems. So you have because they're so sensitive, right? They're
Right.
constantly
Taking
reflecting.
energy.
Yeah. And so they have their intuition is not their gut is not their intuition. They have this thing called lunar authority. It's very mystical. It's very strange, and they have to wait a month to make decisions.
Oh, I'm really glad I'm not a reflector.
Yeah, it's really weird. So what I tell these people is wait even longer. Like the gut people, it's so generic. 70% of the population, trust your gut. Those people, they know, they follow their gut. The reflector is here to taste and try on things. And all of a sudden, the answer comes. It's like when you sleep on it. It's similar to emotional authority, I would say, in a way. But so with emotional authority, we can still check in with our gut, later. We just have to wait until we're in the middle emotion. We're not too excited or we're not kind of angry. So, but the reflector, it has to wait longer time. And it's kind of like, I don't know, the right divine wisdom comes to them and they find their answer. But unfortunately, a reflector can feel disappointed. That's the not self theme. They feel like they're not with the right group of people. They're so sensitive, so they have to be careful of, the right group of friends growing up. They're very sensitive beings.
That's so interesting. And I don't want to interrupt, but I want to ask because people are asking, and I know that means that they're not able to totally focus because I get that way all the time. So someone just wrote, Christopher said, I found my time of birth. What do I do? I never knew what time I was born. He said it was cool. And I'm getting text messages. Okay. So if people go to myhumandesign.com, they can actually you can contact Michael for a reading, which if you want to check him out, he is on Instagram. And I'm going to put up where did it go? I'm multitasking. All right. So if you go to Digest by Design on Instagram after the show, not now, and check out Michael. Because we don't want you to leave us now because there's so much more we're going to talk about. Digest by Design on Instagram. You can actually see what Michael's page is about. You can book a reading. And I think he has a surprise for our viewers, which he will announce when he sees fit. But it's myhumandesign.com that people can go to for something simple. And if they want to get something more, and I will tell you, it is worth it because it was incredible. Michael, I changed so many things that I did right after our reading. Like somebody came looking for a job and I was ready to say yes. And I just had spoken to Michael and he said, you need to take a minute. You need to pause, practice the pause. And I say that, I know you ladies are familiar with me saying that all the time, but I had to practice it. And I definitely had the right outcomes because of it. So I'm going to let you answer that now. Yeah.
Everybody's going to need a reading with you, Michael, because they're going to go to this thing and there's a lot of different things. And I'm like, well, what's that mean? Well, what's that mean? And they come with this picture that I'm like, what the
Oh, there you go.
So it is definitely, there's a lot to it. It's pretty cool. I mean, they even tell you an environment, like it's nuts. There's so much stuff. Yeah. So I guess the next thing maybe you could tell everybody, is the other thing,
here's a quick question. Wait.
Oh boy, go ahead. You read it, Tracy.
It says, oh boy, that sounds like me. I never make a rash decision. I'm super sensitive. Do reflectors block the bad people out or keep them away? That's interesting. That's a great question.
Yeah, I love that question because it depends on the person. Like let's think about this. Everyone comes from different conditioning. Right. And this is what human design talks about. It's kind of being your natural self, like the spark of your soul. It's a blueprint of your soul. So it's kind of your natural energy. So if one reflector is, with a parent who's negative or something or a certain way, they're going to be prone to that conditioning. So everyone is different. So anything generic you read, be careful, even with astrology. And that's a whole other thing to unpack because I do astrology as well. Like if you're a Virgo or this, it's way more broad than that. So yeah, you have to be careful of the conditioning. Say a child, basically human design was put out there for the children, because if you raise your kids as their design, there's less, I think I read somewhere like 90% of imbalances or conditions would be eradicated if everyone lived their design.
I'm gonna find my
Wow.
kids out
Yeah,
right now.
I'm sure that, yeah, but I'm sure that I don't even know, Michael. I'm going to guess because we haven't gotten to it, but I'm sure like sleeping factors in like what type, if you're like you were talking about a night owl or an early riser, or you wake up in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so fascinating because
Isn't it?
yeah, I just read a huge article about how important it is to understand your sleep pattern,
Mm.
because some people really like they talk about how teenagers really can't get to sleep early and they need to sleep late, and we make them go to school so early, and it's so detrimental for all of them because they are not conditioned to do that. Just the teenage years they're talking about, but we're talking about like your whole persona has a specific time to do certain things. And I totally get that of like some people are, super energetic in the morning and some people are just like, please don't talk to me. And it really is true. It's not them being grumpy. It's like that's really how their body is conditioned. And I feel like it's so important to be intuitively listening to our bodies. And I wonder why we got so far away from it.
Exactly. And that's a whole topic to dive into because human design is telling us that we're moving into a new cycle from 2027 on energetically, which will be about the individual. So you'll need to do it your way. Like we're feeling it now since the pandemic. Like, everyone's like kind of going on their own trajectory now. So the last 200 years, from the lens of human design, it's been all about bond making, the collective coming together. We needed to build structures and businesses and making bonds and surviving off the other, the help of the other, where the next 200 years will all be about you living your design, individualism, survival. It's going to be a little scary because the energy is changing. Like the planets have these frequencies, neutrino energy. That's the science behind why this is real. So there's a lot of change going on in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So you want to learn this information. And the question is, why weren't we able to live our design? Is because we had the tribe was the main thing the last 200 years.
Right.
And now the tribe is changing. It's more individualistic now, equality, everything, we see on the news. It's getting loud,
Mm-hmm.
So wild.
So
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. And that I didn't know that, but that makes total sense to me. I mean, even astrologically, that makes sense. I've heard about 2027 and, but I definitely think that makes total sense. And I even see, as much as they talk about the world getting more divisive, I also feel like the world's also getting much more spiritually inclined. I feel like more and more people are individualistic in their spirituality. You don't see as many people going to church as much or places like that. But people, I think spirituality is growing in different ways, more open, more open, right? Like us.
Yes. Like
Yes.
wide open.
Exactly. And it's so interesting you said that. I've been thinking a lot about that because there's a change in religion and spirituality. Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, and Saturn transits, pretty long time, 2 to 3 years with retrogrades. So we're in the energy of Pisces with Saturn. Saturn is a karmic planet. It's a very serious energy. Pisces is about spirituality. It rules the 12th house of our subconscious, the change of the subconscious. Pisces rules, like deep spirituality. So there is a shift in spirituality. There's people getting spiritual, but there's a change in religion. I think religion is going to massively change in the next 100 years. It's going to be thought about differently. I think it will be a little bit more esoteric, like it used to be, these beautiful stories in the Bible. So that's a whole other thing to think about. You want to learn how to learn your human design, and then if you really are into this, learn about astrology because it really tells you a lot. It's not just the month you're born. There's all these different positions that tell you your rising, your moon, your north node, your black moon. They tell us all these different things, and it's a wonderful tool. It's a tool,
I have a question though. Human design asks for your birthday, but I don't see much astrology in human design. Is it behind the scenes and I don't understand what I'm looking at? Okay.
Yeah. So when you look at the chart, I could screen share if you want.
Yeah, I would love it.
That'd be great.
I think that might help. So I press present, and then I go to share screen. And I'm gonna go 1 second. I'm just gonna delete one.
Take your time.
So we don't want anyone else's chart showing up. Oh,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
You can show my chart. I don't care. I'm an open book.
it's okay. Let's do this. Let me try this. Okay. The
This
diesel
is
stone for now.
fascinating, Michael.
So
First time anybody's tried to share a screen. I'm really excited
We're
about
gonna need
this.
7 more shows with you, Michael.
Exactly.
I have so many questions.
Oh, I see it. I'm going to
You
put it
can
up.
see it, right?
Okay, ready? Here we go.
So you can see the chart, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, great. So yeah,
Ooh.
you see the Hindu chakras here. So that's one system. And then we see these 64 numbers. And these 64 numbers are from the I Ching. It's a Chinese wisdom. And they tell us about our genetics. And you can also look up the gene keys, which is a wonderful tool that will tell you really fascinating esoteric wisdom mixed with science of our genetics. And you can look up your numbers and read about your different numbers here.
Now,
So
are all the numbers represented, or do different people have different numbers?
yeah, so if it's activated in your chart, let's think of it as it's like your gift, or it's readily available, it's natural in you.
Wow.
So it's kind of like natural part of you. If it's not activated, it doesn't mean that it's not important. It just means it's like, not to focus on that energy. Like, for instance, I have the 41, which is the gate of fantasy. I'm a musician. So a lot of artists, that's why it's very helpful when I consult career things. We can see this person with 41, they have to be in a creative position.
Okay.
It's literally in my body, like wanting to make this fantasy. Every gate can have a lower expression and a higher expression. So I mean, 31-7 is in her throat area. Elisa Silverstone, she's an actress. She's a leader. The 31 is actually an alpha energy. So, this person is going to lead. She talks a lot about veganism and interesting topics and inspires people. And these different energies, if you don't have it, it's not a bad thing. The first time I read my chart, I was like, oh my God, I want that,
Sure.
So all the different circle numbers are the things that this Alyssa Silverstone
Alicia
has.
Alicia Silverstone. You know
Alicia
her.
Silverstone.
it's
Yeah.
called-
Oh,
yeah.
it's the star. Okay, now I
Yes.
understand who she is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but then the numbers are still there, but they're not circled. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it. So what are the little lines between all of them?
Yeah, sure. So to answer your circle question, so this is called define. So it's like readily available in her. It's her gift, like what she expresses.
Okay.
Open gates like that are not activated, you will feel other people's energy. So this gets very complex, which we'll have to unpack in a second podcast, which would be awesome.
Yes. You heard it, guys.
We're like, woo, we're going to hold you to that, Michael.
Michael, in 2 weeks, we want to do part 2.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to go very advanced because we'll talk about conditioning and working with our partner or our lover and see how we can work with the energy. So anyway, so when one of these gates connects to another one, this is from the wisdom of Kabbalah. So then we move from Kabbalah is in the chart. The wisdom of Kabbalah, there's a frequency and energies that tell us about the tree of life. When you turn this bodygraph upside down, it becomes the Sefer Chot, which is the tree of life. So
Very cool.
yeah. So it's really mystical. And then finally, the astrology is right here.
Oh, okay.
So sun, Earth, the nodes, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. So it adds another layer because you can look up your I Ching genetic number, and then you have to mix it with the sun. And what does that mean? It's so complex, this system.
Wow.
And you
That's
learned it
amazing.
all pretty quickly. Good for you, Michael.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
know.
lot of stuff. You must have the pandemic worked wonders in your
It did. It was. I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing without that redirect. I'm sure all of us, it was such a crazy, awful time, but it was a massive awakening for many. I think almost everyone,
Yes.
in one way or another, it really was. And so it's so interesting to me because there's so much in it that I cannot wait to dive deep. So where did you go to people? And so you went to someone who gave you design. Did you get taught by that person, or did you just learn it all on your own?
Yeah, so I had a reading with like a human design analyst, which is like a very official. I'm just a reader. So an analyst, is very scientific and they have a very deep training, and I respect their craft. It's a little different than what I do. I'm more of a guide, more of a reader, and I want to keep it simple for people. But an analyst is also a good thing to look into if you want to study and get deeper into the knowledge. And I took some courses, a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, and each level, it just goes even deeper. So I took all these different courses. And then I started working for a lady who does astrology and feng shui. I still work for her, and I'm a reader on her site. And so I've studied a lot of her courses and a lot of her work. And she's actually friends with the myhumandesign.com lady, Jenna Zoe, who's like my teacher. So it's amazing to be connected with these people and to study their work. But yeah, I've had readings with tons of astrologers. I love it. I don't do as much anymore because I'm like more focused in my human design. Like my intuition is telling me like, focus on yourself. It's good to go for readings with people. That's why I love the human design, because it gives you the power back. It's like, this is, once you learn your chart, you're like, I don't need to look outside of myself anymore.
Right.
The coach is just there to help you. As you know, Kim, like we're here to help people. We're not here to fix you. We're not here. You know what I mean? So
after 12 weeks, you're done with me. Bye. Like I gave you all you got.
Exactly.
Well, not really. I mean, I hope people stay friends with me and all
connection,
But I agree. Oh, Donnie, you're muted.
Donna, you're off.
I just realized as I'm doing it, it said Mike is muted. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm laughing because I thought that was so funny that how Kim said that. But just be friends with me. So going back to the type. So you had manifesting generator, manifester, reflector, generator.
Yeah.
What other types are there so that we can complete that for this series?
Yeah. So
if you don't mind.
Definitely. There's the 5 main energy types. There's only 5. So yeah.
So we have one more.
So manifester, manifesting generator, the generator, reflector, and projector. So the manifesting generator is like the hybrid, lots of energy. So they are a generator, but they have manifester energy. So I suggest if you're a manifesting generator, you learn about the generator type as the main type, and then study something about the manifester. So generators, like consistency. Manifester type is impulsive. So the manifesting generator is a hybrid impulsive.
Right.
So it gets very complex. And manifesting generators, they're not here to do one thing in this life. They're here to have 2 to 3 things that go, like the coaching, and then they studied something else in college, and then they changed direction. They actually thrive off doing several things in life. They feel frustrated when people block them, when like the parent is like, the generator parents, which are mine, are saying, no, focus on one thing at a time. The generator is here to just focus, on simple tasks. Whereas the manifesting generator, in my opinion, is the one that's doing several things. I'm the musician. I'm doing the spiritual stuff. I love food things. And that was huge when I learned that, because I surrendered and I said, you know what? I'm going to do everything that I love.
I love that.
I love this too, because Michael, you're giving people like a new lease on life, where I just think it's so imperative. I'm totally doing a reading. I know
me too.
So many people will be doing a reading.
I think I could do this.
Yeah, but it's so important to recognize that there is not one size fits all. We've been told in this culture, I'm talking specifically the United States, where it's like you need to go one direction and everybody goes that direction, and you need to do this in this order and blah blah blah. And I do believe we are becoming so wide open. Like just my generation, a gap year, something is like so foreign and crazy, but it's so brilliant, because how many kids didn't know what they wanted to do before they went into college? Why not take that year and experiment with things? And now it seems so brilliant and so normal. Whereas if I was going to college, it's like, what? You're taking a year to discover who you are? No way. And I think we're progressing that way. It's just very exciting.
Exactly. And I feel that because remember, the last 200 years, I feel like it's the pressure of the tribe, pressure of the collective, pressure of what other people want, pressure of what he wants, pressure of what she wants. The next 200 years, it's the age of Aquarius. It's freedom. It's going to be internal. Aquarius is fast information, innovative technology. We're moving into, it's human design. That's very Aquarian. So we have to move towards that. You need to know your human design. If you don't know the basics, it's going to be tough, in my opinion, because I was constantly, and I still do sometimes, seek outside of myself for, to get, even if I wanted to do something, I would find a reason not to do it, making things up in my head or something, So, so you have to know your human design so you can feel the intuition stronger. Yeah.
I think parents, it sounds like parents could benefit so much by, or teachers, or even employers. Maybe in 50 years, all employers are going to be like looking up your human design to see what.
Well, it's like your type. Remember, they used to have the personality test where they see what type you are and how you take authority. If you like to have someone tell you what to do, if you don't, if you work independently. I think this is way more valuable, and it's fascinating. It also seems, Michael, like it has to do with your health. Will this help you with your health, knowing kind of?
Yeah. And I feel like you guys looked all this up a bit, but I don't think you have.
No.
There are two things you said. So there is like business human design where they're helping businesses. There's coaches that do that. And I've worked with a client and then helped her colleagues. And it really elevated her relationship with them. That's why human design can be helpful for corporations and businesses at the moment. And then to answer the other thing you mentioned just now about, what did you just ask?
About health. I'm sure this chart affects your overall health, right?
Great. Yeah. So in human design, it's called primary health system, which is getting very complex, but it's the digestion information. So that's like a very level 3 and 4 human design topic, is going deeper into the health aspect, your needs, health. This is a loaded thing, but we can see in the genetics, this person responds to animal products. It doesn't respond to animal products. A vegan diet versus not a vegan diet, very controversial, but we can see it in the chart about animal protein of the person's genetics. I'm very sensitive to animal products. I've always been, but there are certain genetics in the chart, like the gate 40, which is like, all about tribal, it's like eating meat and tribes. It's interesting, but that's all changing, by the way. The chart is changing in 2027, and it's going to be a more plant-based centric, more, we have a karmic contract with animals, human design says, with mammals specifically. There's so much esoteric information in the system that's just, it makes you think like, wow, everything that's happening is like happening for a reason,
Yeah, because what's so fascinating? Everything, I do a ton of reading about just different medical things, and because I find it fascinating. And so many medical doctors that are classically trained are now saying, which they didn't before, that everything starts with your gut.
Yes.
That all your total health is based on your gut, which is like, because we never thought that before.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that before. Now I'm hearing it everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. That's exactly what you're saying. This is so wild. I'm like, can I do my reading now?
I know. Everybody has to do it. Because now I looked it up and I'm like more confused. I got to know.
Oh my God.
Ignorance was bliss prior to speaking.
Right?
To you.
Now I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm curious what environment you are as well. With the gut, it's so interesting because like when people don't trust their gut, like the people that have the gut intuition, it's called sacral authority. They might have gut issues. I've seen this a lot. Like I used to have really bad stomach problems, and it's like, was I not there? That's a whole other wonderful thing. I feel like Donna would be so into this, is the spiritual, things behind health problems. Like,
I totally am.
And
I'm listening to you talk and I'm thinking about your name of is Digest by Design, is digest, right? Because you talk about your food, but you digest the information, you digest the food. But from a young age, I knew I didn't want to eat meat. And it like really bothered me, like viscerally, but like you grew up in that household where you had to eat everything on your plate.
Yeah.
So when my grandparents would walk out of the kitchen, my brother and I would sneak and swap, and I would throw the chicken leg on his plate, and I literally by hand, I was feral. I would grab the mashed potatoes because I didn't even want to waste the time of scraping it on the plate. I couldn't do it. I went back to eating meat when I was pregnant with my first daughter. My body was like, okay, we can eat the stuff that doesn't identify as meat, like a meatball, chicken, parm. I
It
couldn't.
doesn't identify as meat.
Well, you can't see that it's actually. I cannot do it.
That's to be covered by a lot of stuff.
Oh my God, it makes me so upset. And it's not because I ever grew up like I love animals. I get very upset when I see like animals on the side of the road that are
Oh, of
It
course,
really
we
just-
all do. Well, maybe not all.
Did you see
but-
the flowers I put on the mole and the mouse? So that kind of is a little different. When I said that to somebody, they were like, you really put flowers on dead animals? And I'm like, yeah, I was walking the dog and I felt like it was like so amazing that I even saw it, because I'm like, that was a circle of life. That bird definitely tried to get that baby mole. That mother tried to protect the bird, and then both of them perished. And I'm like, that is that's so poetic. Like, it's like life is like that. We all try to save somebody else or something else, and everything goes because we're not doing it in a nice way. But
can I just make one comment, because this is so fascinating? There is a video going around that is it's horrifying, but it's fascinating at the same time, where we're talking about animals and how much emotion that they really have, and we haven't given that respect to them.
Yes,
it is a baby deer swimming across a river, and there's a crocodile coming. And the mother sees the crocodile coming and swims right in front of the crocodile.
No.
So that she gets taken and the baby goes. And it's like, holy bleep. If you don't think they have feelings and emotions, she knew exactly
what she was doing.
The mother sacrificed herself so that baby could get across. She comes she's nowhere to be found. That little baby's going, the crocodile starts coming at the baby, and she comes out of nowhere and just goes right in front of the path and just gets, don't
share
happen.
it with me. None of
No,
you.
I'm just saying it's like,
when
we say that animals don't have emotion and connection. It's like, of course they do.
Yeah.
So
it's so intuitive. Yeah.
Yes, of course they are. And the fact that we don't think,
Well,
I'm with you. Believe me, I've been trying to get meat out of my life too.
Yeah, please, everybody, stop eating veal. You're gross.
I
want
totally gross.
Wait, I want to say something. Change the topic before I get hate mail. It's fine. I don't care how I get those 15 minutes, baby. No, I'm kidding. Didn't the human design chart remind you of something?
Yes, your painting,
the soul painting. I showed Michael.
Did you show? Okay,
so I showed Michael when we were looking that day, when he was doing my chart, which, by the way, that reading was a good amount of time, like long time, and we still could go back and dive into more, and I would love to do that. But I couldn't believe how much it looked like the painting soul that Angala Grace did, the soul painting. And she has these tubular, things that come out in all of her paintings. Like, and it was just like, whoa. It's like everything's coming full circle. I love it.
Yeah.
So cool. Absolutely so cool. Amazing stuff. There's so... It looks like
we have to have you back, Michael.
Like, Michael, we have to have you back.
And I know the open-minded mystics guy.
Yeah, exactly. So we go to Digest by Design on Instagram, and then we can schedule with you. Is that how everything works? I just want to make sure everybody who's watching, because we're getting so many texts and questions.
Yes.
I know you're going to be inundated, Michael, which is very exciting. That's the whole point of this show. But how do we do it? So we just go on there, and then what?
Yeah, feel free to message, and I can give a discount to anyone listening to this episode. I'm happy to help out. So there will be a discount. If you've listened to this, you can just tell me that you listened or watched this video, and you can message me, and we'll book it in. Depending on the time, sometimes there's a wait if I have a lot of readings and a lot of things on, but yeah, messaging is great. I'm on a few different websites. You can also book through their bookings, but I can also help with a discount personally.
So you get what he's saying. If you book through him personally, Digest by Design on Instagram, there's flexibility because of watching on Open-Minded Mystics. I'm going to put it in your comments now, everyone. If you mention that you saw Michael on our show and you say Open-Minded Mystics, there'll be a bonus discount. And that would be amazing. I can't believe it. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, this has been awesome, Michael. We are just, I am just like fixated to this, and I am so excited to get my reading. I know Kim's already working on her chart.
I am. I looked it up. I friended you on Instagram.
You're like done, and done.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
You're amazing.
Yeah,
we definitely would like to have you back. for sure. And we could just dive in a little deeper, especially after the ladies, when you do your readings, because I have no problem with sharing some stuff. I would like to know, I'm excited to find out what connections we have. I know I'm a manifesting generator. Kim, I know you're a manifesting generator. I can't wait to find out what your type is.
Yes, I
Tracy.
can't wait to find out when I was born. No idea. All right, I've got to find that out.
You'll find out. I want to do more of the dietary work.
Yeah.
I do.
So fascinating. I mean,
Yeah.
there's an environment thing. There's a how you respond thing. Looks like there's like 10 different things beyond the gates and all of those things. And the chat, I mean, that's amazing. It just has so much.
Christopher says he's a projector. Everybody's doing their work right now. I love it.
Wow.
A projector, aren't those the rare ones? Or no, was it
well, they're a little more rare. I think it's like 18 to 20% of the population. You know,
Wow.
you got to be careful of burnout with projectors. Don't overwork yourself, you know?
Tracy says I belong in the kitchen.
See, I knew it. I knew it.
As well.
You know what's crazy, Michael? I've been telling Christopher that he belongs in the kitchen forever, and he won't listen to me.
Wow, did you actually? That's funny.
I did. Oh, absolutely. Like, you know what's crazy? I'm gonna out him a little bit on something. So this is what I'm talking about, people, when you have to listen. And Michael, what Michael's talking about. So in his life, and Donna knows this for sure because she went on vacation with us, he has a tendency to lose things or misplace things or put them somewhere where he can't find them. But Donna, am I right on this? Just say amen. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Now, Michael, when Christopher is in the kitchen,
he never loses anything.
He is so organized and knows exactly where everything is and knows how to time everything. And he's so, and I'm like, don't you see how organized you are in a kitchen and how in the rest of your life, it's like, but in the kitchen, that's your natural habitat. Like, why are you not paying attention to that?
Exactly. Kitchens are places where we can alchemize and create and mix things. So in history, think of this person as more creative, and, you know, it's important for him to have autonomy of his kitchen, see where everything is. Like, you know, if he lived with roommates or people and they took over the kitchen, he'd probably get very annoyed because they need that personal space there to focus. Yeah, we'd have to look at the whole chart to see other things, but sometimes it's a very creative soul, because kitchens could be also practice rooms, places. It's about alchemize, you know,
not making potions.
Yeah, and not being in the middle of nowhere. Kitchens, people, you know, they need to be near the mix, what's going on, you know.
Yeah, wow, this has been so
this has been amazing.
This has been so interesting.
I don't want to leave. It's literally 3:00 in the morning here, and I'm wide awake. Like, oh my God, I need to know more. I'm going to get off here and look it up. It's fascinating. This has been amazing, Michael. Thank you.
Yes.
Gifts to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm not going to pick one for everybody. I'm going to pick one for Michael.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We always do that at the end of the show.
Drum roll, please.
And just because of the simple fact that you're here, Michael, this is like a little gift back to you. It's a little nugget. I'm just going to try to connect with your energy. And then you just have to tell me when to stop.
Mm-hmm. Stop.
Okay. So let's see what we got here. Achievement. Take a little time to reflect on what you have achieved to date. It is often easy to forget where you started, Michael, from and how far you've come. Honor and be grateful for this extraordinary journey that is your life, which I think you do. And do it now. Don't put it off any longer. Have courage. Listen to your intuition, for it is the guiding voice for your soul. And this is your achievement, so you could see it. Oh, there it goes.
It's very accurate, because I've been thinking about that, because I'm doing some healing work, and, you know, we're not perfect, but I've been thinking, just do it. You know, I even wrote a post you'll see on Instagram. I literally wrote in April, just do it already. You know, whatever you felt like you needed to change. I've been and, you know, we get off. Old habits come back. So that's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. Awesome.
Oh, well, we will have to see what happens in 2 weeks from now, won't we? But we will definitely be back. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here. You're an amazing guest. We cannot wait to have you back. For everyone else, thank you for showing up, and of course for liking, sharing, and subscribing and growing our tribe. We will see you soon. Enjoy your summer. Stay safe. Enjoy Spain, Tracy.
I
And
will.
Yes.
I will. Sending love to all of you. Michael, that was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you.